Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. I'm hoping you guys are all having a fantastic day. So today's upload is going to be a video about not the snowstorm that's occurring right now actually, but I just wanted to give you all an update on the potential snowstorm that could be occurring next week, which looks pretty significant. And this one, again, the track is still not, I guess, deciphered for that one. This snowstorm, let me tell you a summary about this storm. One of the hardest snowstorms I've ever predicted. I'm not kidding. I kid you not. Yes, there was heavier snow across many locations, though it was underperforming in some locations like Iowa and Wisconsin, and way overperforming across Missouri, Illinois, and possibly even into parts of Chicago. So we are in for one heck of a ride. You can see the snow is narrowing in on Chicago as I speak of this. You can see a lake effect snowband formed with this. We're just seeing gorgeous radar returns, very heavy snow coming towards the Chicago area, but that's not the focus of today's video. However, before we get into the video, please consider subscribing to this channel, consider liking this video. It really means a lot to me. I really appreciate each and every one of you. Your subscription really matters a lot, and again, check out my channel, check out all of my videos, and then see for yourself whether or not you'd like that. So yes. No, fuck off, nie wchodź mi takie. And your subscription really means a lot, as it really does help this channel grow. That's the only thing that grows it, really, are the subscriptions, and the likes help the YouTube algorithm. So if you watch, a constant viewer, consider liking. Really helps out this channel. If you're not a consistent viewer, you're new to this channel, consider checking out my other videos and see for yourself whether or not it's worthy of a subscription. Let's look at the GFS model and see what's in the long range. So let's look at the MSLP and precip. Notice that this is the newest model run. It's just at 192 hours out, so we're not gonna, that's actually perfect, because usually when it's a little bit out, further out, it tempts me to look further out in the long range, but we should really focus on the next 5 to 10 days. Even that's pushing it. But okay, so we have the snowstorm right here, big one. It was a huge precipitation maker for the Chicagoland area and many locations across Illinois and Indiana. I always speak as of the Chicagoland area because that's where I live, so I know these facts for certain as I keep up with it. However, I'm not sure about your location, but for us, it was one of the heaviest precipitation makers in January, if not the heaviest ever recorded. So that's cool. That storm passes through. Not much for Northeast. This next system, we have a little bit of a small clipper. It's really a disturbance, not really a clipper. It's going from south to north, so that's the exact opposite of a clipper, really. But notice that we are looking at basically a weak system, though the National Weather Service is putting out 3 to 4 inches across parts of Minnesota, Iowa, and Wisconsin with this system. So it's tough to say at this point. I wouldn't really put it out for 3 to 4 inches. It looks pretty moisture deprived. We'll see. That generally, though, if you live in this location, these areas, even northern Illinois, if you live in this area, I'll keep an eye on for this system Monday, as it could cause some travel delays. Nothing huge, not a big snowstorm, just a little bit of a snow system, and that's a better way to put it. Let's look at a little further out, and let's look at hour 54. You notice that we're looking at generally a pretty large system. It's weak, moisture deprived as well, but it could deliver a little bit more snow than that first system, so we'll see. But this is that real system I want to focus on, and notice that the real system doesn't come here till Friday, but it's a week out, and it's fair enough to start forecasting some of this for this system, as it may seem pretty far-fetched, but our attention may be focused on this current system while we neglect the second one. So it's really good to keep an eye on for this other systems. Notice there's just going to be 3 small systems. 1, 2, 3. These aren't going to amount to much, but could definitely drop up to 4 to 6 inches and cumulatively over a certain area if it adds up nicely for you. So that, that's definitely the possibility. Notice chillier temperatures, that allows for this next storm to be more of a snowmaker. Notice that, okay, there are obviously still plenty of details yet to be worked out. Okay, I mean, plenty of details. Some models are indicating much more snow, some are indicating a little bit less. Notice this storm is pretty big. It delivers a good swath of snow across Illinois, Wisconsin, Iowa, Minnesota, Indiana, Ohio, before it transitions over to rain across the Illinois, Indiana area, but it delivers quite a bit across the Midwest, Notice again, look, it intensifies across the northeast, so this could be a pretty big doozy across the northeast. Notice we have Vermont and New Hampshire seeing loads of snow out of this one, possibly very defined, 983, a little bit far to the north, so some of this cold air, despite being there, may be pushed off by this warm air due to this cold low pressure being so far to the north, and it kind of bombs out at the coast. Notice, so parts of Maine could be just seeing loads of snow out of this. If I were to show you the total snowfall accumulations, they're pretty significant. You can see the GFS likes to put out a little bit more than expected. I wouldn't say 13 inches across Chicago or land area, but I definitely would say up to a foot across Wisconsin, Iowa, Minneapolis, Minnesota, Rhinelander, Wisconsin across the next week. This is obviously not just from that last system, but from all three of them. But notice it puts out some decent amounts even across Jersey and Massachusetts. We'll have to see. That's definitely a possibility. At this point, it seems like this would be mostly freezing rain that the GFS for some reason converted into snow. Is this track set in stone? By far, no means. I mean, this storm may not even occur to any significant measure, as it's still so far out. So this is the GFS model. Let's look at some other models. Let's look at the Canadian model. Notice that it also puts out some pretty heavy snow. Again, this one's more realistic as it puts it out further to north and a little bit more isolated. But look at that. It really puts it out across northern New Jersey. So we will see if that's actually what's going to happen, as this one just it's a potential track. It's one of the models. It's a pretty big model, Canadian, pretty darn reliable, and it's showing such a significant track that this could definitely be what comes out of it. Notice we have that same track that lows across Missouri, Illinois, Wisconsin. It delivers quite a bit of snow across Minneapolis, Wisconsin. I always say Minneapolis instead of the state of Minnesota, since they both sound Minneapolis, Minnesota. So I apologize if I do that, but Wisconsin, Minnesota, Michigan get quite a bit of snow out of this, including southern Michigan. I have fans from southern Michigan. You could definitely get fans. You want to call them viewers, go ahead, because I feel like that's more appropriate. Notice that across southern Michigan, again, this thing is definitely going to change, but I feel like you have a much better shot with this system of seeing some significant snow than the one we just had. So keep an eye on for this. And then the Canadian just really takes a nor'easter to this, and across New York, New Jersey, Connecticut puts out loads of snow. Will that happen? It's a possibility. I'm not saying it will, though. I'm just trying to share with you what the models are showing at this point. Let's look at the European model. The European model, again, takes that track pretty far to the north, but it does have that system, and that's the most important part, that all three models, the major three models that I look at and really are the most looked at, are showing the system, which is it's a step forward. At least they're not disagreeing about something being there while the other one is showing nothing. So at least we have that much. Then notice that the European obviously has a slight difference in track. It takes a little bit further to the north, but it also kind of intensifies it by the northeast coast. So we'll see in terms of the European snowfall amounts from this system. Notice that they're pretty intense, up to 9-10 inches from the next couple of systems alone. It would probably be up to 5 inches by itself, that one system. So really not as significant as what the GFS was showing, because the GFS was showing, amounts of over 12 inches out of that one single storm. The GFS European is more like 5 to 6, though it really shows the snow across the Northeast to a pretty significant extent. If you look at Pennsylvania, widespread, other than maybe in Pittsburgh. Again, that's probably going to change. So if I live at Pittsburgh and you look at this map and you're just getting infuriated, don't, as this probably will change and could definitely bring you heavier snow. This is just a preliminary outlook, if you will. Notice Binghamton, possibly 7-8 inches, Utica, 7 inches, Burlington, 10-9 inches, and then it really intensifies by Maine up to just ridiculous proportions. Could that do it a little bit further south? Could the storm intensify further south and bring these snowfall amounts over here? That's what the Canadian is doing. Now, would I say that's going to happen? I mean, to tell you guys, honestly, we're in a pattern where we could see some of this development across the Northeast. We have these big storms that could develop, so I'm definitely saying that there's an elevated risk for that, and I wouldn't be surprised if that were to happen, especially since they're all indicating an intensification off the coast. It's just that they're disagreeing on where the track is going to occur. So honestly, it is pretty likely that we may be looking at some heavy snow across the coastal Northeast in the coming long range. Let's see how the European plays it out in terms of their surface and precipitation map. As we were looking at the basically at just the snowfall amounts, many of you would probably just want to see the actual surface map. So again, we have that first little system, really nothing moisture deprived. The National Weather Service still wants to put out 3 to 4 inches of the snow over there. I'm not sure if I'm buying that, but we'll see. Notice that this one also puts out the European, that second system, pretty weak, though it's there. Could bring a little bit of snow to Maine, more substantial, 3 to 5. And then notice we have that's really that third system, which it's really weak across the Midwest, doesn't do much, but then across the Ohio Valley it intensifies to a pretty significant extent, or not the Ohio Valley, sorry, across Maine it intensifies. It's just that once it intensifies, it's a little bit offshore, so the full extent isn't unleashed. And then we can see another one according to the European, and yet another system. So there's a lot of activity for sure. Sorry about that, I was just monitoring the latest snowstorm on the radar. But otherwise, I would say that yes, this big storm, the early signs are indicating towards a pretty large system. We will have to see how things play out exactly. Again, we're fairly far out from this system, weeks worth out. But I just want to point out that the models have been showing it pretty consistently. The track is all over the place, but they have been showing a system. Let's go back to Thursday, let's say, and let's look at MSLP and precip. Let's take the GFS for example. That would be occurring around the Friday time frame. So notice that they would have some sort of system developing right here, some ice, some snow, and it's again the tracks are going to differ and the timing, but they have been pretty consistent with showing that system. So that's actually pretty impressive. So thank you guys so much for watching. Consider liking the video, consider subscribing to this channel. It really means a lot to me that you watch this video and you like this video, and consider subscribing again. I'll see you guys in the next episode. See ya. Bye.